Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of What to Do, the video series where we look at some relatively standard positions on, well, hopefully one day every single map in the game. And today we're looking at Siegfried line. Kind of a coincidence here that I just saw a Reddit post on the World of Tanks subreddit that was somebody asking about especially this map. So it was just kind of funny that we're covering this map today. And you know it, I know it, in good old What to Do fashion, we have to already pause the replay in the first 10 seconds of the game starting. Because I do want to try and cover a little bit more of every single map that we are covering in the video series. So yeah, today we're looking at Siegfried Line. Now Siegfried Line is one of those maps that either you can have really decent, consistent games here, or it's just not fun. So, Siegfried line, if you are playing a tank with, a little bit of armor, a little bit of turret armor, stuff like that, and, nice gun, like for example, like a Blackrock or BZT and E100 Taschenrotte, things like that, you can do pretty well here, and relatively consistently too, I think. Because there are a lot of hold down positions. You can also side scrape a lot of places in the city. And it just allows you to, again, play through the attributes of your vehicle. So we're not gonna cover the city that much. I'm not gonna look at every single angle that there is. I'm gonna give you some tips about city, but we're gonna mainly be focusing on the main win condition of Siegfried line, and also what to do in a lightly armored tank. Which is one of the problems that I have with this map, is that I sometimes don't really know what to do when I'm playing, a Gorilla, a Scorpion G, an RHM Borsig, or, in today's video, a Leopard 1, for example. And the win condition is the field. Now we're going to talk about a little bit more about the field later, because most of the replay is going to take place there, and it's to a certain extent a little bit interesting, but field can also be a little bit boring sometimes. But I just wanted to cover this back position here. Now, city, as we said, is mainly where heavy tanks and, mediums with turret armor like 430Us, Cocodrillos as well, do really well here. And the standard side scraping positions are this corner over here and here, while side scraping like hold down positions as well, where you can just kind of cupola snipe towards people. And I bet that if you have played 3 battles on this map, you kind of know where to go as a heavy tank as well. The position that I recently like to go to, and it has evolved a little bit over the years, I used to love going to this corner over here to see if anybody pushes aggressively. Maybe some tank destroyers get spotted towards the back that I can shoot. But it's not really worth it, because your light tanks are also not going to scout here. So what usually happens here is that you get outspotted and just blasted by a tank destroyer, like an STRV or a Hirschkoffer, who's sitting in the back here. And they have very, very nice shots at exactly this corner. Now, also a thing that I wanted to mention about the city is that it's kind of a you push, you lose kind of situation. And some World of Tanks veterans will know exactly what I mean. But in case you don't know that term, it's that it's a flank where if you play very aggressively, you will get punished very heavily, very quickly. Because there isn't really a position that you can take that is overly aggressive, where you can kind of farm the enemies without taking tons of damage. You have this pocket right here from south spawn, and this pocket here from north spawn. But I've recently stopped going there, as I think that this is kind of an overcommitment, because if you go here from south, you're kind of stuck. And I always tend to say that if you have nowhere to run, then you're just kind of relying on your like macro play and support of your allies, which we all know isn't a real common thing in this game. But where I like to go lately is actually this position here. There are a lot of like streamers that go here as well, so you might have seen somebody play here recently. It's just so nice because you've got a cooldown position, you can kind of side scrape, and you can also, if you over peek, get shots to this little bunker here. And the same from this side, you have this little angle over here, which is quite nice. There's also an early position behind this little ruin here, where you can shoot across the street here. So if somebody pushes aggressively into this pocket that we mentioned, you can maybe get some side shots here, but it's not 100% guaranteed. It's just more like, if you're going here anyway, you might as well stop here for like 10 seconds, aim through this alleyway, and if you don't see anybody, you can just go forward to your cooldown position. Now, these back positions, very, very interesting position spots here. You mostly have this bunker with these trees next to it. You have one on the other side as well. You'll see tank destroyers go here a lot. I personally don't think that they're incredibly strong. And you also tend to get blind fired a lot. If you knock these trees over, people will look at it and think, okay, well, there's obviously a tank destroyer sitting there, right? But again, it's not great, not terrible. The main purpose of these positions is to punish people that just cross over this little street here in front of you. But yeah, these bush positions is where I like to play when I'm playing in my lightly armored tanks. Because the team that pushes and wins city is kind of in a lot of trouble. Because you want to clear out the heavy tanks that are sitting around these corners here. And in order to do that, you have to show your side to all of the people camping in the back. So if you get pushed through this street, then you might sit in one of these bushes. It's not really a specific bush, by the way. It's just, you know, there's a million bushes here, so you just take your pick. But if people push through these alleyways, if you are able to double push and play hold down here, you can get so much damage, and sometimes also bring the game back to kind of like an equal state. So you can still kind of carry the game, even though it has been lost in city. Same with this back position right here. It just covers the 0 line so incredibly well. I also saw somebody say that you can sometimes push 9-0. I could go further into it, but I won't, because you cannot do it efficiently. I once pushed this line with a triple platoon of I7s, and I was in some sort of medium tank. This was just a random platoon on my team that typed in chat, forgot to push 0 line. And we did. And we got all the way to here to C0 in this position. And then we got surrounded and we died. So it is not very helpful. And also these back positions here are just incredibly nice. Tank destroyers can play hold down here with tons of bushes around them. So it's just a very, very uphill battle. I would not recommend playing here. Or, well, pushing here, at least. But yeah. What I'm trying to say, if you're in a lightly armored tank, try to stay alive till the end game and see who wins city. Because if you're losing city, you want to be able to defend your base and farm enemies that drive in through the city. Yeah. But today we are here to look at Field. Field on Siegfried line. What is it all about? It is all about winning it. But it's kind of a dirty job. Because I do not like going Field. Why don't I like going Field? It's because of the pocket where I'm driving to, funnily enough. I really despise this position. And I'll tell you soon why I hate it, but also why we are going here. Now we're gonna get great shots here. I'm gonna make this position look like the best position you've ever seen. And then I missed a shot on the side of a mouse in the Leopard 1, which is, you know, average World of Tanks gameplay. But after I take this shot, I just want to say why I dislike this position, but why I am here. Now, I'm playing with a friend of mine who is... I was doing some coaching sessions with him. And he said, you know what, Terra? Let's go into the dip. And I said, you're crazy, man. But then I remembered the steps that I take to look at the enemy team. I'll go over them very quickly. I think I've mentioned it before. But step number 1 is looking at the tier that you are playing and the tier that you're playing against. So here we have some very scary tier 11 tanks. Step number 2 is looking at notorious vehicles. So what kind of vehicles are going to be a problem for us here? So this is tanks like the camping tank destroyers that are going to be in the back here. BZ 79, incredibly strong. BZT 70. I don't care if you think this tank is OP or bad. I think it's incredibly OP. So I'm very scared of it. The Cocodrillo, super scary. And they also have some mediums that can prove to be a little bit of a hindrance if we want to push field any further. But step number 3 is looking at platoons, but there weren't like any some super scary platoons here. But step number 4, this is sometimes the most important one, or the most useless one, and it's looking at light tanks and artillery. Now, on the enemy team, and on our team as well, there's no artillery, which is good, because RT is not very fun. But there's also, more importantly, no light tanks in the match. So that means that field is going to be completely uncontested unless they send some medium tanks, like this E50M, over here to, where we are playing. And light tanks are usually also the reason why I dislike playing here. Because you see that there are these like patches of bushes and trees. You have one over here. And then you have one over here. And also one a little bit further. So this spawn actually gets 2 patches. And what these patches allow light tanks to do is just sit here and go AFK. Basically. Because what they'll do is they'll permaspot anybody that peeks this ridge here. From both sides. And it's incredibly annoying because if you want to make pressure up here, you're going to be spotted by the people that are playing these bushes. And that allows the tank destroyers at the bunker location here and here to just constantly shoot you. And it's incredibly annoying. But my friend said, Terra, there are no light tanks. Let's just push one line and see what happens. And I was kind of skeptical about this because, again, field is kind of this dirty job that I don't want to do. But it is very important. But we did it anyway. And I'm very, very glad that we did. Because this game is a perfect example of how you want to play Siegfried line in a mobile paper tank. But yeah. What most often happens is that another person, usually a light tank, plays on the opposite side of this road. Now what will happen then is that because you're less than 50 meters away from each other, is that you're going to be perma-spotted. Now that is really annoying for a couple of reasons, and the biggest reason is that if you peek, you get shot, and that just sucks, because you have no armor if you play here, usually. So you're just going to end up trading blows and losing a lot of HP quite early on in the game as well. And something I try to do is stay alive for as long as possible so that I have most of my HP, if not all of it, towards the later stages of the game, where I can use my camo, where I can use my view range, my mobility, my gun, to outplay slower opponents, like a Mouse, for example, or a Panzer 7, a KR-1 to a certain extent. It's just no trouble for me. But as you can see, we're getting great shots here because we're uncontested. And usually what I do, if I have a couple of light tanks, is that I play further towards the back. You see that I have an STRV over here and a Gorilla in the back. Now this is maybe a little bit too passive, but I tend to usually start in this bush location right here. I don't sit in the bush, I sit next to it. Because of a couple of reasons. Because what usually happens is that your light tanks will spot people trying to rush through the field to get into this position. So this is a very good spot to get some early shots on people playing very aggressively. The same from the other side is that you can sit next to this bunker and get some shots on people like us rushing into this position. But again, there are no light tanks, so the risk of us being spotted is quite low. Also, just a little bit of a pro tip, if you're sitting in this bush or next to it, like what I like to do, if you get spotted here, 9 times out of 10, it means that there is a light tank sitting in this patch right here, or this one. What you can do is then just send a couple of blind shots, and if you don't see the splash, it means that there is a light tank there. And you can just continuously just blind fire till your heart's content until they die or they leave. So that's really, really good. Can't really do the same thing here, but this these bushes right here will spot you if you drive further forward or try to push this flank from this side right here. So yeah, very, very careful. If you're playing like a trash barn or something, then just randomly shooting one of these bushes, if there's like 3 light tanks on the enemy team, is very funny, because more often than not, you will get like blind shots. Now, I want to push further forward here. Why did I decide to do this? It's because the E50M got spotted in the tank destroyer location all towards the back and is now driven into city. Is this a misplay? Maybe. But what it enables is that we are now, again, completely uncontested. And I know that this replay is maybe a little bit of a exception to kind of like these standard games that I like to feature here. But this is just a scenario where we win field. Usually I let my light tanks kind of deal with field and see if they can win it. And after field is won, then I make this play. But this play is really what wins Siegfried line most of the times. A little bit of an unlucky shot there. I don't know why that didn't kill the Rhinoceronte, but okay. But flanking around here is so incredibly important. And we're going to make a play in just about a minute or so that you can just mirror on the other side. It's really, really strong. But right now, look at our positioning here. I have my view range all the way on the edge here. Nobody has gotten spotted on this ridge. Everybody on the enemy team has been spotted, so I'm quite sure that nobody is sitting here. And that allows me to just, sit in the open without any bush cover and shoot the enemies just completely for free without getting spotted. Now you see me pinging below the bunker here, because if there is somebody sitting on the ridge there, you can push up below this ridge to be underneath their gun line. This is incredibly powerful, because if you are playing any sort of tank, you can get very free shots like this on people that are playing in the city. Now we're maybe a little bit too late in this scenario, because the heavies have actually pushed through the city and we're kind of dying. Now this is something that I kind of forgot to mention as well. Another reason why I like to play this position here is because I can make the play that I did now without having to drive all the way around and then back inside again. Because the nice thing here is that if you kill your opponent on the other side, and maybe your light tanks clear field, you have the possibility to make the play that this BlackRock player is making, and that is that you can drive up here through this gate and then just come down here and enter the hill from this low ground. So you save a bunch of time. You don't have to drive all the way around here. This was mostly for me and my friend to see if there was anybody sitting in A1 or something. And if somebody's sitting in A1, then okay, I'm sorry, but it's just the way things are sometimes. But yeah, really smart play by the BlackRock player. He was a very fantastic player as well, I think. So, huge kudos to him. He's going to help us carry this game a little bit. A little bit of a noob auto-aim right there, I'm sorry. But right now, I'm very concerned about the STRV tanks that are sitting up in that corner, because they're kind of preventing me and my friend from peeking this ridge aggressively. Trees on this corner, remember that if you knock over trees, they just become regular bushes. So I want to knock over this tree so that I can peek unspotted into city. And right here, you'll also see that my tank destroyers in the back here, that are defending the base, have really nice positions. Because if enemies just drive through all of these gaps, they're just going to drive into a crossfire by tank destroyers that they are not able to spot. So defending your cap on this map is incredibly strong. And you'll see the influence of these kind of like sneaky positions represented here on this side of the map as well, because of these bushes in the back. If you try to peek this ridge and there are tank destroyers sitting here, you have to be extra careful when you peek because of this position right here. So here, we're about halfway through this game, and I'm just trying to not take any unnecessary damage here. I'm down to 1000 hit points, so I can still take a shot or two, but playing City in a Leo, it's not really recommended. So, I'm asking my friend here to come with me. I also see that we have a bat chat with us. I flick my camera backwards. Now, that was actually insane timing. I flick my camera backwards, and I see that he's a one-shot. So, I cannot be the kind of person who says like, oh wow, this bat chat is a scout tank and he has to drive forward and spot for me. So, what I'm doing here is that I want to close this game up. Because if I get to murder these tank destroyers that are sitting at the back here, the rest of the enemy team is completely surrounded in city from all sides. And that's kind of what you want to do, is that losing city, you just want to kill people that are on their way out of city, kind of. Again, only in mobile tanks. If you have any form of armor, then playing city is very easy. So what I'm doing here, I'm using my turbo and my CVS, and I'm just holding W on these CRVs. Batchat behind me, teammate behind me, they're absolutely blasting these guys. I'm just kind of zigzagging back and forth, and they're getting completely crushed. Now, this was kind of scary, because I have a K91 behind me, and my Batchat is reloading, but luckily, this guy doesn't seem to want to push me, and he just gets absolutely blasted, also by my Blackrock player. So, if you push this ridgeline, yes, tank destroyers can shoot you, but that in turn means that you could shoot them if they get spotted. So, maybe these guys should have knocked over a couple of extra trees. So yeah. Now, the rest of the enemy team is completely surrounded. I see that the Hirschkaffer is looking at me. I'm on 700 HP. I don't know if he's charged up, so I don't want to take the risk here. Just to die in the end of the game would be kind of sad. I peek here, and I knew, I just had like a spider sense knowing that this contriver was just sitting there with a double shot waiting for me. So we pick him up, and the Hirschkaffer is just sitting out in the open. The leopard dies. And before we kill this guy, I kind of just want to like fly around again, because if I kill the final person, then like the camera controls become like wonky and stuff like that. Alright, so, whoops. I'm not very experienced with the camera controls yet, so excuse me. But yeah, zero line, extremely risky. And you might think that when you get to this corner, you can just peek around here and shoot people for free. It's extremely dangerous. Because if you get spotted, if there is like a Steve just camping in the back here, they will completely blast you in the side of the turret. So, if it's like an endgame scenario and the enemy team is just like, you know, falling apart, you can push any flank you want, right? It doesn't really matter. But if you're in the early or mid-game stages, I would not recommend going. The same with this little dip here. Now, I haven't gone here in a while, but I still think it's a little bit risky, because you have to drive through the street here, so maybe somebody is waiting to take an early shot off, shot on you. And if you drive around here, again, the before mentioned angle from the tank destroyer location, they have very easy shots onto you over here. And also through here. And if you decide to push this area, this like courtyard here, from this side, you're gonna have to go around here to shoot people playing here. And that just opens you up again to this entire ridge line. because tank destroyers like sitting still, but not that still. They can reposition from here to there, just to shoot you in the side over here. We also have this corridor here, so if you like sitting hold down, maybe aiming through here. People cross back and forth here sometimes, so maybe you get a free shot or two. And this very standard location over here and over here, and you just play hold down against people over here. The other early position that I was talking about is this little road right here. Now you have to peek out quite far, but you can get an angle all the way across here. And this is mainly to catch people driving into this aggressive pocket right here. I'd say that I get like one free shot here 50% of the time or something. But again, I usually only stop here on my way to playing this corner right here. And usually I just race into position right here, because if you wait a little bit too long, then crossing here can be very dangerous because of the tank destroyers that are playing in the back. Now, just going over the play that the BlackRock made earlier, is that I think, I wasn't paying 100% attention, I'm sorry, but I think that he just played this location over here, played hold down here, because he's a very, very good hold down vehicle. And then you can either sit here, if you have like 8, 9, or 10 degrees of gun depression, you can shoot through here, or if you win it from the other side, you can shoot all the way through here. So again, if you get caught out here, losing this position can be detrimental to your life. But what he ended up doing, I think he dropped down here and then joined me and my platoon mate over here, and then used this ridge to kind of shoot these people in the back. Now, we didn't get that many back shots this game from this location, but sometimes you can just farm like thousands of damage here. It's very, very satisfying, especially if the city is kind of like a stalemate. Then this is just, it's so free. It's really good. And if people try to push you from here, they are just going to get slapped by this previously mentioned tank destroyer position. So yeah, to summarize Siegfried line, it can go one out of 3 ways. It's usually decided by the field, because if you lose field from the other side, again, you just do exactly the same. You push up, play this like mountain ridge right here, and then just flank all of the people in city, and you can also get side shots on the people that are camping to defend their allies in city. So yeah, I think that was mostly it. I'm very curious to see if you enjoyed this episode. Like, I'm just sitting here yapping about a map for, half an hour, so I really hope that people will enjoy it. From what I see in the comments, people seem to be loving it, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And again, the reason for these videos is not to make any like really high level type of positions or insane plays that will get you 10,000 damage every single game. It's more of just looking at standard position, so that if your friend asks, who has played like 100 battles, man, I really want to know how to play Siegfried line, like just a standard person, then you could just send up this video, and they will kind of know what to do. Like, this game wasn't amazing, but the way we played it was completely it was very important to win the game, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Sorry that there are a lot of What to Do episodes coming one after another, but I just don't want to lose my replays by Wargaming updating the game, so it's gonna have to be a couple in a row, unfortunately. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what kind of map you want to see, or if you have any ideas for, improving this. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.